Welcome back to Believe in Badgers on the Believe Network, presented by FanDuel and Oak Ridge Wealth Management. I'm Matt Perkins, joined, as always, by Badger legend, the Hebrew Hammer himself, Matt Bernstein. Bernie, how are we doing today on a very special episode? Bernie, this is number 300.
Is this number 300?
This is episode 300 of Believe in Badgers.
We've been working hard for 5 or 6 years, I think, Matt Perkins. 5 years? 4?
This is our 5th season, yeah.
Damn. That's amazing. Congratulations, Matt Perkins.
Congratulations to you.
I'm going to buy you 100 drinks when we go to Iowa.
Oh, yeah. We're not going to
Ohio State. Listen, I'm just like I'm not going to Alabama. I'm not going to Ohio State. Not for that reason. But listen, every day's a holiday. It's a big week. I know Chris is going to talk me back or off the ledge, but I don't have high hopes of winning, but I have high hopes of being very successful in certain areas and looking like a better team.
Being competitive, yeah. And so we are excited to have Chris Phillips from SEC Unfiltered, a friend of the show here on the Believe Network. And Chris, thanks so much for taking time out of your busy schedule here in Nashville.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Matt, first off, congrats on episode 300. That's really an accomplishment, truly. Hey, listen, most shows don't make it to that point. So congrats to you guys on all the success. And yeah, excited to be here. I appreciate you having me. It's going to be a fun one down in Tuscaloosa. I got a couple buddies that actually called me this morning. They're already in T-Town getting ready. I know Bama fans are kind of chomping at the bit, they're still trying to wash out that nasty taste from week 1, beating ULM 73-0, didn't quite do it for them. So they're also a little nervous, though, because who knows what version of this Bama team shows up. Obviously, I know for Wisconsin, going on the road, trying to do the unthinkable, pull the upset as 3-touchdown underdogs. But again, guys, really excited to chop it up with you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Badgers are 3-touchdown underdogs by our friends over at FanDuel for a reason. So I want to start though with this Bama team because obviously the loss to Florida State in the first week ignited some concerns and some growing concerns with Kalen DeBoer. I mean, he's in year 2. Do you actually think he is properly on the hot seat? Is that really in the mix here in Tuscaloosa?
I think the competitive pressure is really, really high. You could also say, when is it not down there? But yeah, I think there's a lot of people who are very upset still with what happened in week 1. And I understand it. So now listen, if the season continues, and especially let's say he can win back, quote unquote, win back the fan base, if they go down to Athens and beat Georgia in a few weeks, that'll get people back on. He does still have this weird thing where he's great against the elites and he's really bad against the teams he's supposed to beat. So that would tell you going into Saturday, listen, Alabama's not safe. This isn't a game you can just take for granted and think Bama's going to go out there and win by 50 because he's shown, I think they were 5-5 in their last 10 after week 1, but he's 6-4 or maybe 7-4 now against unranked opponents, 6-0 though against top 10 teams. So it's riddle me that. I don't really know what you make of it, but do I think he's actually on a hot seat to where he could be fired and get paid out $70 million? Probably not. I just don't think that's happening in today's college football with the whole revenue sharing era and, what these schools are having to do from a financial standpoint. I don't think – and listen, Alabama ain't got A&M money. They ain't got oil money to go shell out $70 million, let you walk and go get somebody else because you guys know it's not just the $70 million for the buyout. It's probably $80 million for a new head coach and his staff, right? So, I mean, you're talking about $150+ million investment. I don't think – unless they were to go literally 2-10. I don't think Bama's doing that. So his seat is very, very warm. There's no question. If they miss the playoff this year, he'll be on the hottest seat in college football going into 2026. But no, there's just a lot of competitive pressure in Tuscaloosa. And I don't think you'd expect anything differently with that job and with those expectations.
I mean, I would literally sit on any seat for $70 million. Spike seat, doesn't matter what
if
seat.
I'm Kalen DeBoer, I'm saying fire me, please.
Yeah. Hey, guys, my seat, it's super hot, and I don't really care. 70 million reasons to just put your feet up is a lot of reasons. So, Chris, we talk about this giant Alabama, right? For the past 10 years, almost as long as I can remember, I'm 42. Alabama's been, if not one, top 5. And when they're 6, you're like, what the hell is wrong with this world, right? What's it like then to have that pressure to walk into Tuscaloosa as a different, as a non-SEC team? I mean, you've probably been to more. I've never been to an SEC game outside of coming up to Lambeau and playing or going and playing at a bowl game. What's it like going into Tuscaloosa, though, to play this Goliath for the past 20 years have been one of the best teams in the nation?
Well, SEC venues are different. There's no question, right? It's just the energy, the emotion, the passion, the pageantry. And I know I'm a little bit biased, sure, but it's go to one for yourself and experience it. I'll just say that, especially a big game. It's unlike anything else. I will say this, though. Maybe this will surprise you. Admittedly, Bama gets up for the big ones. I don't know what the crowd will be like Saturday. I really don't. Because, I mean, and this comes from my Bama buddies, right? That Bama has a game or two, at least in the past, right? They have a game or two every year they felt like they could possibly lose. LSU at home, maybe they're playing some big non-conference opponent or some other game. And they'll show up and show out. Like last year, I went to Bama, Georgia, and Tuscaloosa. That's one of the best environments I've ever seen in college football. They also let me know, hey, that's the best environment we've seen in the last decade, so you got really lucky. For a game like this, typically, listen, Bama's a fan base that's spoiled. They're a little fat and happy. How could you not be after all the national titles Nick Saban gave you? And Saturdays like this used to be an afterthought, you know? Hey, we're going to show up. We're going to go to Galette's, go get us a yellow hammer. We're going to go tailgate. We're going to go golf clap, and then we're going to beat you by 50. And, then we're going to go out. We're going to go to Innisfree after. We're going to celebrate. It's not so much that way anymore, man. I think that the way I equate Alabama right now, and humor me just for a moment, guys, you've probably seen the Disney movie Hercules. You remember that movie when he drinks the potion from Hades that turns him into a mortal? You're just like everybody else. That's Bama now. They're still Hercules, but you're just like everybody else. You have to worry about a game like this. You have to worry about every game on the schedule. So I say all that back to the question you asked, an environment standpoint. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, really, I don't. An 11 a.m. kickoff in Tuscaloosa, I know what Bama of a few years ago would have done. They'd show up, but it wouldn't be like, oh, my God, we're walking into the most raucous, rowdy atmosphere we've ever seen. I wonder if there isn't like a new level of kind of like desperation with this fan base. Like, hey, we need to be the 12th man. We need to be part of the game. We cannot just take this for granted as like Wisconsin's going to walk in here, crumble because they see the script A, and then leave after we annihilate them. I think you can't take it for granted anymore like that. So, yeah, this is new Bama, man. Bama's still Bama. Don't get me wrong. But it is new Bama. Now, here's the good news. They're loaded with talent, and I think that's the game being played on the field, the Jimmies and Joes. That's where Bama's going to have the biggest advantage. I just think from a talent standpoint, top to bottom, I think they're vastly superior to Wisconsin. But, hey, I thought that about Florida State too, and look what happened. So the environment will be very interesting, Matt, to your point. I'm curious how Bama fans will show up in regards to filling the stadium. How involved are they in the actual atmosphere? Because when that place wants to be loud, it's one of the loudest in college football. But do they want to be loud for an 11 a.m. kickoff against Wisconsin? I don't know.
So what is the biggest concern for this team in this game, in this particular matchup?
That's a really good question. I think for Alabama, the biggest concern's got to be line of scrimmage. Listen, I know what you did against ULM. I don't care. I'll be totally honest with you. I mean, beating the Warhawks is an accomplishment, I guess. But no, listen, I think when you go back to that first game, that week one game, Alabama got bullied. I mean, they got pushed around in the trenches. And I mean, listen, I don't know that the test that they're going to see on Saturday from Wisconsin in the trenches is the equivalent to or greater than or what have you, what Florida State showed them. But I mean, they just got pushed around, man. They got flat out bullied. Ty Simpson was running for his life. They could not stop the running game. And I know Wisconsin's been able to run at a pretty decent clip through two games. I mean, 318 yards rushing. Granted, again, at this point in the season, we're talking about everybody's level of competition. So we're having to kind of read between the lines and nitpick a little bit. But I don't care who Bama's playing. Right now, that's the question mark to me, guys. And I think it's the question mark, too, because let's just call it for what it is. This isn't a shot at Wisconsin at all. This is just more so for Alabama. This season wasn't about beating Wisconsin. This season's about beating Georgia. It's about beating LSU. It's about going to Atlanta and competing for an SEC title. And it's about getting back to the mountaintop and competing for a national title. If you go out there and you can't push Wisconsin around, you might have real issues. Like, this game is setting the tone for the Georgia game because you got this one, you got a bye week, and you got Georgia. Like, if you're going to build any sort of momentum or confidence, you can't go out there and get bullied on the fronts. I don't care if you win this game by 30. If it's a game where Ty Simpson, again, running for his life all day, you can't establish a consistent ground game. And again, you can't get after Danny O'Neal and you can't get after this rushing attack and make their life difficult. That's not going to bode well moving forward, right? So that's the biggest question coming out of the Florida State game that's still unanswered, because ULM, like I said, throw it away, doesn't matter, whatever. Congratulations. That's what I want to see more than anything, and that's where I think the biggest questions lie. Because where else are the questions? I think Ty Simpson's a good player. I'm a believer in Ty Simpson. Ryan Williams is supposedly going to be back for this game. You got the skill position guys. Running back room's deep. Secondary's elite. Linebackers are elite. O-line, D-line. That's where I want to see the most questions answered for Bama.
We all know how crucial your data security is. Delete Me makes it easy, quick, and safe to remove your personal data online at a time when surveillance and data breaches are common enough to make everyone vulnerable. Data brokers take your data and profit off of it. Your data is a commodity. Anyone on the web can buy your private details, leading to identity theft, phishing attempts, harassment, and more. But now you can protect your privacy with Delete Me. As someone who's worked in higher education for a long time, I know just how crucial data security is to make sure that student info stays private. But no matter what industry you're in, data security is one of the most important parts of your personal and professional life. So take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me. Now at a special discount to our listeners here on Believe in Badgers. Today, get 20% off your Delete Me plan by texting PRO, that's P-R-O, to 64000. The only way to get 20% off is by texting PRO to 64000. That's PRO to 64000. Message and data rates may apply. Hey folks, before we continue, I want to remind everyone tuning in that we continue to be proudly presented by Chris Anicetti and his entire team over at Oak Bridge Wealth Management. If you're a collegiate athlete or parent of a collegiate athlete navigating NIL opportunities, Chris and his team are here to help maximize your earnings and protect your future. We all know that athletes train hard to be the best on the field, but who's making sure they're winning off the field? Chris Anicetti and his entire team at Oak Bridge Wealth Management. That's who. They don't just manage your money. They handle your entire financial world. From building a rock-solid financial plan tailored for athletes to paying bills, budgeting, setting up LLCs, and securing financing for cars, equipment, and whatever else you need so that you can focus on your game. Your career is short. Make every dollar count. Oak Bridge Wealth Management, where athletes build lasting wealth. Get in touch with Chris on Instagram at oakbridgewm_Anicetti. That's oakbridgewm_ANICETE, or head on over to their website at oakbridgewealthmgmt.com. Chris Anicetti, Oak Bridge Wealth Management, they've been helping a lot of NCAA athletes and professional athletes get their money right. There's no one else better for this around that you are going to find. So make sure to get in touch with Chris and support the people who support us. All right, we're going to hop back into the show. Going along with that, I mean, one of the things that you mentioned on your show this week was the red zone defense for Alabama has probably been one of the more suspect aspects of their game. And how can Wisconsin attack that to their advantage, besides obviously getting in the red zone first, which is not easy?
Yeah, that would help, right? Setting up with some short fields, getting the actual between the 20s. No, I mean, listen, I think, again, it starts up front. You know, I think doing some pre-snap motion, throwing some eye candy out there, getting Bama in some uncomfortable positions. I'm curious how Kane Womack adjusts to it. But, I mean, I think it starts on the ground, you know, a consistent run game. You know, Bama's been susceptible to the intermediate passing game as well, kind of some of those quick hitters, if you will. So, yeah, I mean, it's something that I know they've made a priority. I've actually talked to some folks down there in Tuscaloosa, and it's, you know, every coach works on it, every team works on it, but for them specifically, can you be bend but don't break? You know, can you win those battles in the red zone? I think that's going to be something certainly keeping an eye on. Again, it may not kill you in a weekend like this, but it certainly will down the road as the competition increases as you get in the SEC play. So, I mean, listen, there's guys on this Wisconsin team I think that can beat you, that can make you pay. I like the Anthony kid at wide receiver. The tight end, Mason, I think is really good. Wisconsin's just known for spitting out high-quality tight ends. So, yeah, I mean, I think when that being said, there's going to be opportunities. Wisconsin's going to get into the red zone. I feel pretty confident in that. Can you hold them to 3, not 7? Certainly that'd be a big point in this game and for this Bama defense moving forward.
Is this okay? You mentioned that, for Alabama, this is not Wisconsin. This game is not, your season's not set up for this. It's not. This isn't like the most important. But I would almost say for us, it is. Like, it is kind of almost that game of like, can we hang with the big boys? Do we have a chance with the hardest schedule in the nation? So to us, I think this is a big deal, which I think plays well into Wisconsin's hand. Does that really actually matter in this game?
Well, I mean, listen, I think if one team's really, really fired up for it and treating it, not saying that Wisconsin's treating it as their Super Bowl, but if they're putting a large emphasis on this game and Alabama comes out, lethargic, comes out uninspired, comes out not fired up to play, yeah, I think that can make a difference. Look at week 1. That's exactly what happened to Alabama. I mean, give Florida State credit. They whooped them up and down the field, but Alabama looked disinterested, guys. Lollygagging after the ball, just doing things very uncharacteristic of Alabama. Funny thing, I didn't even mention this. We talk about weaknesses, undisciplined. I mean, guys, they commit more penalties than their opponent essentially every single game. It is actually astonishing that we have to use the adjective undisciplined to describe Alabama football. It doesn't make any sense, but they have been that. Yeah, I mean, they showed up looking like they didn't care. So, yeah, I think that matters for sure. I mean, I think passion, energy, intensity. You hear Kirby Smart talk about this. I just want to find guys that love the game of football. I can coach them. I can teach them how to, do everything else I need, but do you have fire, passion, energy, intensity, et cetera? So, you're right, though. It's a big test for Wisconsin. I know, obviously, you'll dive into Big Ten play after this. Maryland Terrapins coming up to Camp Randall, and then, again, you really get into it going to Michigan, and the season's off and running. Yeah, if you're going to make some noise in the Big Ten, I think Luke Fickell's going to have the kind of year you want him to have. It starts with a Saturday like this, because I know, obviously, the Miami of Ohio game was quite a struggle. And then even Middle Tennessee State, is 14-10 at halftime, and that was an MTSU team that I forget who they lost to week 1, or maybe were tied with or lost to week 1. But, yeah, I mean, it wasn't exactly an inspiring performance, especially in that first half. But, hey, all those sins can be forgiven. That can be washed away if you take Alabama to a fourth quarter game.
Listen, even if we lose by 7, it's a win for us.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Wisconsin wins. Sorry, Chris, to cut you up, but Wisconsin wins in if Alabama just wins, good for them. Right? Yeah. Like, that's great. Wisconsin has like 300 different wins that they could accomplish in this game, which I think bodes really well for us. Matt Perkins, am I crazy on that?
You're not crazy on that, Bernie, but for me, it's going to come down to, like Chris said, the line, because Wisconsin's offensive line was completely reconfigured. They had one starter in the same position from week 1 to week 2. Riley Mallman's playing left tackle now. He's been a 3-year starter at right tackle, and he was never really thought of as a left tackle. So that is concerning. Assume like Wisconsin is going to be in some 3rd and long situations. They're going to be in passing downs, for a variety of reasons. But who are the guys on the Alabama defense? Maybe give me one guy at each level that Wisconsin fans should be keying in on. And so we'll sort of be like, if those guys are playing well, we know Alabama's going to win.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think Tim Keenan's a name to obviously keep focused on. Is he going to play in this game is the question mark. So I'll go LT Overton, a guy who I know is going to be out there off the edge. I think he may be the disruptor truly on that defensive front. Love watching his game. He was active in that game at Florida State, one of the few on defense. So I'd say LT Overton up front. Tim Keenan's the guy we're all waiting to come back. I think he will be back by Georgia. I don't think he's going to play in this one, but might be a game-time decision. At the linebacker spot, guys, it's Deontay Lawson. I mean, he's that thumper in the middle, leader of the defense, the guy who makes it all go. And then, in the secondary, really take your pick. I think Zabian Brown's probably my favorite. Keon Sabb is a Michigan guy you guys might be familiar with. He's a leader in the back end of the defense, but love Zabian Brown's game. He'll play down and he'll play the run. He'll play the pass, obviously. Lockdown corner on the outside. So they've got NFL dudes running all over the place on the defensive side. So, again, they were made to look very, very mortal in week 1. A running quarterback hurt them. Florida State ran for almost 300 yards, I think, rushing in that game. So, yeah, it's a big one for them in regards to a bounce back. They're way too good to look the way they did in that week 1 game. But, yeah, there's other guys I didn't even mention. They might have the deepest linebacker room in the country with a guy like Justin Jefferson as well. James Smith on the defensive front, on the guy like, you could just keep going on and on and on. But a couple of those top guys I mentioned, I would definitely say LT Overton off the edge. Deontay Lawson's the guy you're going to see and hear his name a lot because he'll be flying over the field. And yeah, Xavier Brown, that entire secondary is really good, but Xavier Brown's one of those dudes they brought in last year. Extremely talented, true freshman, 5-star guy. Took his licks last year. One of the leaders for them in the back end.
On the offensive side of the ball, you mentioned Ty Simpson, that you believe in Ty Simpson. What is sort of the biggest flaw in his game that Wisconsin could exploit if they're going to have success holding Alabama's offense back?
Yeah, and listen, Ty Simpson was a stock that I admittedly bought low because there wasn't a lot of proof of concept of like, why are you buying into him? Well, I'm just buying in because I believe in Ryan Grubb, and can't believe I said it for the season, but I believe in Kalen DeBoer. So, I believe in. And you saw the limited bit of action last year, and I thought he was a guy that would take the next step. And I thought it would actually be an upgrade from what they had with Jalen Milroe, just from a scheme fit perspective. I mean, I think if you're Wisconsin, you got to force the issue a bit. You got to get him outside of the pocket, get him on the run, although he showed in week 1 an ability to make those plays. But with the weapons he's got, guys, it goes for any quarterback, but especially in this offense, you just cannot let him sit back there and get comfortable because – Bama's got the guys on the outside. They're going to win those matchups. Jeremy Bernard, especially if Ryan Williams plays, Isaiah Horton, the Cuevas kid at tight end, who I really like. So I think if you're Wisconsin, again, making him uncomfortable, getting them behind the sticks, getting him in some obvious passing situations, and making him make some quick decisions. I think that's the other thing. Like, again, I thought he managed the storm really, really well against Florida State. Did a good job of improvising, getting outside the pocket, like I said, making plays with his legs. But, yeah, if you just let him sit back there and pick you apart, you're not going to have much of a chance. So getting him uncomfortable, stopping the run first, getting in some of those passing situations, those obvious passing situations, and bringing the heat and see how he handles it.
So you mentioned these guys are probably NFL ready. So what I wrote in my notes before you said that is this is an NFL game. Like, this is for guys on Wisconsin who want to play in the NFL. This is where you shine. There's a lot of things that I think are good for our team. Although playing at Tuscaloosa against Goliath, Alabama is not always the best. Outside of O-line, D-line, what can Wisconsin do? Do you think, just holistically, coming down, even if they're just warming up? Like, what do you suggest that these Badgers put in their heads when they walk on that field?
I'd probably say ignore the logo. Just ignore the logo. I think so many people let Alabama beat them before they even take a snap, and build them up to be something that certainly now they're not as much of anymore. But yeah, so many, and that goes for, I would say that's not even just a Wisconsin thing. That's anybody. If you're walking into Bryant-Denny Stadium, not getting caught up in the allure and the aura. Because, listen, I went there for the first time ever last year. It is very easy to get kind of starstruck a little bit looking around. It feels like the mecca of college football when you're there. Stay within yourself, play your game, ignore the script A, and it's another nameless, faceless opponent. You do that, take it a play at a time. I know I'm sounding very coach speaky right now, but that's essentially what it is. You know what I mean? I'd just say, again, ignore the logo and try to set the tone. I think try to be the more physical team out of the gate. Listen, punch Bama in the mouth and see if they're going to respond. If they do, tip your cap to them. It is what it is. If they've turned a corner, so be it. But you need to force the issue and make them prove it to you. You know what I mean? Like,
I like Coach Phillips.
Yeah, be the more physical team. Play smash mouth football. Again, you let a team like Wisconsin, let them hang around for long enough. They're going to start believing they can actually win this thing, and that's the point you want to get to. Let's make it a fourth quarter game. Bottom line, let's get to the second half, get to the fourth quarter within striking distance. Because then you're going to have all the momentum. And you're going to put Alabama in a very, very, very uncomfortable position. Because like we were talking about with the crowd, it's great to be at home, guys. But in a game like this for Bama, boy, if it's a touchdown game in the third quarter, that's going to be a restless crowd at Bryant-Denny. They are not going to be happy. And so you can almost kind of use that to your advantage. You start to feel that kind of weird energy in the building. And again, it fuels you. And it's like, they can feel it. You can feel it. Everybody can feel that momentum, and we know how big that is in college football. So, yeah, again, ignore the logo, play your game, stay within yourself, go punch them in the face, and
I love that. Ignore the logo.
They're ready
punch
to hang
in the
with you
face.
for 4 quarters.
I love it. And listen, you're right. I completely think if it's 30-7 in the first half, it's a runaway. Like, it's impossible to come back against a good team who already has you down. listen, I'll be happy if it's 14-10, like Middle Tennessee's game, like, because then you're in striking distance, and you do make an Alabama, as you mentioned, uncomfortable to be in a situation where they're usually, this isn't, Georgia, where you're expecting that. You're not expecting a close game. So when a team puts you in that position, everyone gets ruffled. So I think I like what you're saying, Coach.
Yeah, if you can start fast too, I think that's obviously a huge advantage. Again, because that Bama fan base is kind of fragile right now. They're sort of on edge, like just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen. You jump out on them 7-0, boy. That we'll see what happens from there. But boy, they're going to be there's going to be a lot of readjusting in the seats in Bryant-Denny, to say the least.
Well, the Crimson Tide faithful may be on edge. The sports books are not on edge. Over at FanDuel, our friends have Bama as a 20.5-point favorite. The over-under at 46.5. So earlier this week, Bernie and I are kind of split there. I actually like the under more than anything else. Bernie likes the Badgers to cover and the over. How do you feel about the odds here for this one, and what side are you on?
So it wasn't one of my official plays, guys, but if I had to play it, so you're giving me 20.5 now?
Yep.
Yeah, see, if that number was at like 21.5, I'd probably go Wisconsin. But if you're going to give me 20.5, I'm going to lean Bama. I still just have this, and I probably shouldn't, but I still have this belief that like this Alabama team is it's one of the best rosters in college football. It should be one of the best teams. I mean, God, if you don't show up for this one and you don't put together more effort and intensity and passion than you did in week one, they really just don't care about Kalen DeBoer at all. They have no pride in this man at all. So I would lean the Bama minus 20.5. That is a big spread for a Power 4 game like this, an SEC Big Ten matchup. I probably would favor the total more, and I probably would also go under that. What do you say, 46.5, I believe it is? Yeah, I'd probably go under the 46.5. And that more so comes back to the fact I question Wisconsin's ability to really move the football with any consistency in this game. That's probably the thing that gives me the most. Like if they cover 20.5 and it goes under, it's probably a 35-10 game, 31-10. That sounds about right, But then again, it just all comes back to like we just don't know what we're getting from Bama. We've seen them twice, and they look terrific against FSU, and they beat up on ULM. So we're still at that point so early in the season where, we do the very best we can to make these picks and these prognostications, but we're all kind of just learning as we go, it feels like.
Well, we appreciate you sharing all that knowledge that you have learned as we go here on Believe in Badgers. Make sure to check out SEC Unfiltered. Subscribe to them over on YouTube. They're pumping out more content that you can shake a stick at. It's really cool to see. Chris, we really appreciate you taking the time here to join us on Believe in Badgers, part of the Believe Network, presented by FanDuel and Oak Ridge Wealth Management. We'll be back again soon. Until next time, on Wisconsin.